What's up guys, my name's Luke and today I'm going to show you how to make this customizable shot glass holder. I started out with a 3D model to plan how I was going to build this. The client specifically wanted 12-inch shelves. They wanted the depth of each shelf to be about 2¼ inches deep. And finally, they requested for the space between each shelf to be about 3½ inches, except for the top two, which would be 4½. So the overall height would be 47 inches total. For the materials of the main body, all you need is 3 2x4s. And what you see me doing here is adjusting the fence on my table saw to cut off the rounded edges. Then I adjusted my table saw fence again to cut my 2x4s down to exactly 2¼ inches wide. And from there, I was ready to measure and cut my pieces to length. And as I said before, each shelf would be exactly 12 inches long. What you see me doing here is setting up a stop block on my miter saw stand so that I know every single one of my shelves is cut to the exact same length. And I repeated the same process for the 2 vertical legs. Next, I started measuring and marking the locations for where my screws would attach the vertical legs to the shelves. I didn't want my screws to be visible from the outside, so I took a 3/8 inch drill bit and recessed a hole about 1/4 inch deep that I would cover up later with dowels. As for the assembly of the main base, all you need is a drill, some screws, and some wood glue. And what you see me doing here is just cutting down some 3½ inch and 4½ inch spacers that I could use during the assembly. And as for the dowels, all you need to do is put a little bit of glue inside the hole and then cut it off with a flush trim saw. Now, as a completely optional step, I decided to put a back on this that I would make from a 2x4 sheet of 1/4 inch plywood. I cut the sheet a little wide so that I would have about a 1/2 inch overhang on each side. That way I could go up later with a router and make sure everything is perfectly flush. Before I assembled the back and the body together, I decided to finish everything. I started off with sanding everything up to 150 grit. And before I stained anything, I applied 1 coat of a pre-sand conditioner to all surfaces to ensure that I wouldn't get any blotchiness. Next, I applied the stain, and in case anyone is wondering, this is Early American by Minwax. Finally, it was time to attach the back to the body. I did this by applying glue to the entire back side of the body, and then I laid down the back piece and nailed it into place. I ran into the problem of one of my layers of plywood sticking out a little, so all I did to fix that was apply some wood glue and then clamp it together. In order to make the back and the body perfectly flush together, I used this 1/2 inch flush trim bit from Diablo. Be sure to be careful using this bit, as you might end up with some chip out like I did here. After everything was stained and ready to go, I attached my hanging kit. Now, there are a lot of different options you could use for these, but I went ahead and used a picture hanging kit that I got from my Home Depot that was rated for about 100 pounds. And after I got this hung, this project was finished. And that is the end of the build, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something. And until next time, my name's Luke, and thank you for watching.